Thinking about time for some new hair color. We're going we're going past red, past pink into I don't know what this is. White approaching. Anyway, hello. I'm back. And what were we doing? We're gonna figure out what's going on with our range preview. Right? So how does that work? I don't know. Do we have some kind of range preview thing? What uses the shader, I guess, is the question, right? So probably maybe if I search for dithered in the code base. Oh right. Oh, and this is ready to create our new issue, so we'll do that in a second. Dithered. Okay, so the ranged obstacle scene has that reference, so it's probably ranged obstacle. There we go, range preview. So how does this work? I don't know. Well, so it's a cylinder that is currently invisible, but we can make it visible. It looks like that with the shader on. It's interesting. Geometry. Okay, so there's a mesh. Mesh doesn't have the material. How? Okay, surface material override is the shader material. Great. And I think the reason this is the way that it is as a cylinder is so that if there's variation in terrain, the kind of the shadow or the indicator of range will intersect with the terrain. So what happens at runtime is when we go to place a ranged obstacle, it makes the range preview visible, but I think the shader only renders things that intersect with the cylinder somehow, some way. Not sure. There's no script attached to this, so whatever's going on might be in this script. So we have effect range, and we have effect range indicator. This is the reference to our range preview. And we just changed the scale, and then whether it's visible or not. And that's all we're doing here. So the magic of like it's showing where it's intersecting with the ground is in the shader. So bad news. We got to figure out what's going on with the shader. All right, great. Dithered transparency. Okay. So we'll look at that in a second. Let's take a look at this issue. So we want to reorganize bottom UI layout, separate hotbar, and add utility button area. So I guess I'm building. This feels like the same UI that like RimWorld has, where you have although I mean they're buttons, but they are like the different tabs, and then you have a set of buttons on the right hand side. Yeah, anyway, so reorganize bottom screen UI to better utilize space by moving the hotbar exclusively to the left side of the bottom screen. So technically the current hotbar spans the whole screen, but the hotbar buttons are only using the left hand side. Add utility button area to the right. Current state, hotbar currently blah 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 blah, 6 slots. Proposed changes. Remove any visual elements extended to the right side, there aren't any. Utility buttons, create a new button area on the right. Buttons for tech tree. Other potential buttons, achievement panel. Game settings, statistics. Game speed controls. Save load. Okay. So let's revise this a little bit. So we don't want game speed buttons in the bottom right because we have a dedicated UI for that in the top right. Anything else I want to adjust to this? Yeah, okay. All right, can we? Yes. Can we understand what's going on here? So we have, what is a spatial shader type? This is going to create it for the, I don't see the repo name. Oh, here it is. Good. Create that issue. Yeah, cool, thanks. Okay, so let's let's go back to our project. Hey, Sneaky Spudsworth. How's it going? Have you been entombed by the snow? Doing all right. How about me? Doing all right. There's no snow here. It's sunny outside. The temperature is I don't know. I haven't been outside today. 34 Fahrenheit. Just kind of chilly. Might put on a couple layers if I were to go outside. It's I don't know, probably 75 degrees in this room. Let's see. 73 degrees in this room. Probably just need to have the fan on anyway. Get some air circulating in here. Yeah, you're trying to work yourself up to go and shovel it again. Your elbow was killing you after first round. You got like an elbow brace or something? I don't know. Man, imagine having to shovel snow. I think the last time we got a bunch of snow here, I happened to be in Hawaii, so I saw the snow through the Nest camera on the front door. That was good. Yeah, that'd be good. All right. Okay, so what are we doing? I think we're trying to figure out what to do about shaders. Oh no, I was gonna check the project. We created that issue. I want to put the issue into the project somewhere. What milestone should this go into? So this is really a question of, do I want to do this in the next couple of weeks? Do I want to do this down the road once we finish kind of like this initial content? I think probably phase 3. There's a ton of stuff in phase 3, unfortunately, but it's kind of lower priority there. Just trying to think of like, what is the most important thing to do to be able to understand where the game is going, right? So I want to kind of front load. Like, we get a lot of like system stuff working originally. Now we're kind of we're trying to get to working the content, and the content will drive kind of what other features we need or what's working and not working to get feedback to then do future planning. So this seems like something that we don't need to do immediately. What I do need to understand, though, is how shaders work in Godot. Godot Shaders. Which there's a cool website that has a bunch of existing shaders if I wanted to go find some. But what I'd like to do instead is understand this shader. If the Godot docs load. Which they don't seem to be wanting to. Let's try going here. Firefox, are you okay? Oh, and this was some stuff that we were looking at for when we were looking at testing. I don't think I need that. Here we go. Introduction to shaders. Yep. Here's a detailed reference for the shading language. Probably want to look at that. So what we have here is a fragment shader. What does that mean? That's a good question. What does that mean? So, refresh my memory. I know there's like vertex and fragment shaders. A graphics card called the fragment function once or more for each pixel it has to draw, whereas the vertex shaders get called for every vertex that it needs to render. Right? Vertex function runs over all the vertices in the mesh. Right? So if you have a cube, it's got 8 points on it. Those are 8 vertices in the mesh. Sets the position and some other vertex variables used in canvas item shaders and spatial shaders. So this is a spatial shader, so it's a shader for a 3D scene, right? Versus a canvas item shader, which would be for a 2D scene. I think at one point we played around a little bit with canvas item shaders for a 2D practice game. Okay, fragment function runs for every pixel covered by the mesh, right? So if you have a mesh that has 8 points, and then it has a face, you have a rendered surface around those points, then you have lighting, you have environment that says how that cube should be rendered. The vertex function says, hey, this pixel is part of the face of this mesh. How should it be rendered? What color should it be? And so we're doing stuff here. This is a fragment shader. So we're saying what the color should be. This is the albedo of the thing. So what are we doing here? So we are, let's see, super R. Okay, that's pretty good. You can see all the things here. Can we make this wider? Yes. There we go. Okay, that's good. Albedo color RGB. So what is this? This is the color of our, so like our preview is this like yellow color. So that's the albedo color of the preview, the range preview. And so we set the color of the pixel that we're rendering to be this color. So we do that first. And then we say, well, it says right here in the comment, discard pixels based on dither pattern to create transparency effect without actual alpha blending. This prevents accumulation. So this is the problem that I was trying to solve by using the shader, is that if you have the range preview going for multiple obstacles and the ranges intersect, we don't want it to be like a shadow where like, oh, this range and this range and this range all intersect here and then it's darker or it's lighter or something like that. We want it to be a single color or shade or a rendered effect regardless of how many overlapping things there are. And so we just have kind of an outline, well, a filled outline of where the turrets and other defenses are in range. So we take frag chord .xy. What is frag chord? I don't know. It'd be really cool if it would tell me what this is. But whatever this xy is, we divide it by dither scale. So this is a range between 0.1 and 4. And then we say, hey, if dither pattern scale chord is greater than transparency. So transparency is the percentage that should be filled in, or the percentage not filled in, or one of the two. If calling dither pattern, so what does dither pattern do? It takes scale chord, which is this chord here. It takes the x and y values, divides them by, or it modulo 4, right? So it says every 4 pixels, or every 4 whatever units this is, it wraps back to 0. So the possible values is 0, 1, 2, and 3 in both the X and Y direction. And then what we would do is we pick a value. So if you have 2 coordinates that can be between 0 and 3 inclusive, 4 values, by 4 values, well, that's 16 values. So we have an array of 16 values, and we pick one of the 16 values. And this gives this pattern, right? So like if we were to look at the game and what this is doing, because that's a much better way of explaining what's going on here. I mean, you can see it here in this preview. There's this pattern. If we zoom in, there's a pattern. But if we put some turds out here, you can see they intersect, but you don't get like any kind of interference or any kind of accumulation like the comment says. They just kind of combine into one textured thing. Didn't I have it when I guess when I hover over 1, it just shows me the range of 1. But if we do this, we can see the range of all of them. Right, so that's what we're going for here. Okay, there we go. I can hit escape and we can see that. But the problem is that for some reason the way this is being rendered is odd. So what I haven't seen yet is, so what we're seeing here is that we see where the cylinder of the range preview intersects with the ground, except not quite. It's a little lifted. That's the problem that we're trying to solve is that the preview is, oh, I have a thought. Are we not seeing the intersection? Are we actually seeing, no, that can't be true, because we are, so the mesh here, top radius, bottom radius, height. The height is 2 meters. Oh, interesting. Apparently I can't. Hold on. We can hide that this way. There we go. Okay, and then we can go over. So, but there's nothing in here about intersecting with the ground. So is this, so what is frag chord? Also, let's look at maybe wherever spatial shaders takes us. Shader types, yeah, we've already established. Spatial is for 3D rendering. And there are render modes. So we have draw depth never, call back, unshaded. So unshaded mode makes the engine skip the built-in light processor function. That's nice. Each shader type has different render modes. See the reference for shader type. Okay, so we want to go to here. And there are render modes. So what does draw depth never do? Never draw depth. I think that's what gets us the effect that we have where we don't see the that gives us like the projection. What does call back do? Call back calls back faces, which is the default. Okay. So if I remove draw depth never from the shader, we might have to restart the game to see that. Yeah, I think so. Let's quit. And let's go to the shader and see if okay, that's updated. So if we run the game now, what does that do? Is that what's giving us the effect that we have? Nope. It is not. Okay. Well, what is then? What is it doing? How does it work? Pull back unshaded. Okay, that just takes us there. Okay, don't need that. That's interesting, though. Is there something about this mesh that's different or special? Flip faces, add UV2, UV pat. Okay. Top radius, bottom radius. Like that change to the shader didn't seem to do anything. What was it before? Draw depth never. Yeah. Doesn't seem to do anything, which is interesting. Never draw depth. Unshaded. Result is just albedo. No lighting or shading happens in material, making it faster to render. Sure. Right, so if we remove this, then we get this, where, okay, it receives lighting on the top and it's different on the other sides, right? Callback is the default anyway, so it doesn't do anything. So I'm wondering here if these two are just completely unnecessary for the effect that we're seeing. But also, and we're not changing the location of the range preview or the height or anything else at runtime. Like we do. Oh, we are. Yeah. So when we change the effect range, we change the scale of effect range indicator, which is this mesh, right? It's this mesh instance 3D. So we are setting the effect range, and then we're setting a height, right? So the scale here, we're just scaling it. We're scaling the node to be the effect range doubled, and the height is 0.1. So clearly we just need like a really tiny value, except this is going to cause problems. So we never implemented a thing to make it so that it renders, like, it's not a thing where it's showing the intersection of the cylinder with the ground. It's just rendering the cylinder is what it's doing, actually doing. It still works, right? If we look up close, it's still wrong.
Not again.
Oh, right. Let's get out of here and go back there. Oh, we have two places. We have two places where we are doing this logic. It's not good. Let's make a function that has that. So I'll have a Let's do calculate scale. Yeah, so just like this. Okay, and then that means that instead of that, we do that. And then here, yeah, there you go. Okay, so now, yeah. Just call it range so that it doesn't conflict. Okay. Has built-in name the same? Okay, great. Well, call it something else then. Can't be renamed because it's also the same name as the built-in function. Okay, great. So call it new range. Okay, so now restart. What does this do? It does that. That's not what I want either. That's unfortunate. We got some Z fighting going on here. That is not exactly what I want. Okay. Too small of a value. How small can it be? I don't know. Ah, that's fine. So when I look at this, yeah, and that looks right. Now I think this is all me avoiding having to make it to actually like do an intersection between where the ground is and the range. I think one of the things we talked about when we implemented this, I think that happened on stream, was like doing something with a decal instead. That seemed to be another thing that we could have done, but instead we did this, and it works. And so, looking at the time, I think it is time to raid out, because I'm gonna see about getting some lunch going. So, what have we done? Refactor shader render mode. Okay, that's not really true. I mean, so we didn't need these options. That is true. So remove render modes that aren't needed from dithered transparency shader. Great. The main thing we did was that we got rid of the logic for calculating the bounds of our obstacles and just said that all obstacles should have a base at y0. And that makes the code simpler, and it just means that it's on me to make sure that the models are set up the right way. Okay, and so that is a thing that needed to happen. All right. It isn't any of the things that were talked about here, but you know that's how it goes. We got some unplanned stuff we needed to take care of. But yeah, I hope to not miss any more coding streams like I did last week. It's for the best, because I guess if I would have tried to if I would have tried to stream last Sunday, we would have ended up in the same situation we were on on Monday, where I didn't have the right sources set up, and trying to use Wayland sources in OBS would have broken the stream like it did on Monday, and that would have been sad. But regardless, We're fine now. And yeah, so first of all, I want to say thanks so much for coming out to stream today, hanging out.